Hey La Mesa, we are getting ready to welcome you back through the church doors. We can't wait for that day. We know some of you are going to stay home. You're not ready to come out quite yet, and that's okay. You can still watch us online and worship with us from afar. But many others of you are going to return to church, and we thought that before we do that, it's important for us to spend some time really searching our hearts, to spend some time reimagining this life of Jesus, to spend a moment learning these beautiful words of Christ, to experience revival, a renewal of the Spirit. And so over these next several days, you're gonna receive a devotional thought leading up to June 27th. We're gonna send you questions and a prayer exercise. We just really wanna prepare our hearts for everything that God is going to send our way here at La Mesa. And I couldn't think of a better way to do that than to spend time in the words of Jesus, especially the words found in Matthew 5. We call it the Sermon on the Mount or the Beatitudes, which is another word, a way of saying the blessings or the blessed life. And this is so important today because whenever you talk to someone or you think about someone who's blessed, you might think of external things. That person is blessed when they have more. That person is blessed because they have money, or they have property, or they have that nice looking husband, or that nice looking wife or girlfriend or boyfriend, or they have that sick looking car that you want, or they're famous. And especially in the world that we live in today, everyone is trying to be famous. So I have a challenge for you and for me over these next several days as we get back to church. And how about this? Let's make Jesus famous. Let's put Jesus on the map. And one of the ways that I believe we can do that is by living out the Beatitude life, by living out the blessed life that Jesus describes in Matthew 5. And the first Beatitude, the first blessing, is blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. You're blessed, Jesus says, when you are poor in spirit. Yours is the kingdom of heaven. It's another way of saying happy are the poor in spirit, or wonderful news for those who are poor in spirit, for yours is the kingdom of heaven. And I'm sure when people heard Jesus say that, when it came out of the mouth of Christ, there may have been some people that day that wanted to walk away because it doesn't sound like a blessing to be poor in spirit. Most of us associate being poor with something being as negative, as bad, as being needy and wanting something. But what I love about Jesus and the words that he shares with us is that you are blessed not because of certain things, but in spite of being poor in spirit. You're blessed. And we're going to learn these blessings that are going to come our way that just totally shift the way that we think about what it means to be blessed or to live the blessed life. And Jesus is going to, right off the bat, he's going to get us to switch up our thinking that you're not blessed because of certain things. You're blessed in spite of them because you've got Jesus. And this idea of being poor in spirit, it was always understood as language, especially biblical language, to mean this need of God, this desire for God. Like the deer that pants for the water, that's searching for the watering hole on that hot day in the desert, will do anything to get to the water hole because that deer understands that life is dependent on getting to the source of water. It's this hungering for God, recognizing that God must increase and we must decrease. In fact, John says that as Jesus is coming to be baptized, he understands that life in this way of Christ and following Jesus is about decreasing myself and increasing God in my life. And I know you want that. I know you want to increase God in your life, especially as we look at the way life is right now. We need to increase God more than ever, and we need to decrease ourselves. And so when Jesus talks about being poor in spirit, it is that desire to want more of God, to be so hungry for God that you're willing to do whatever it takes to recognize that you are poor in spirit, that there is some emptiness in there that can only be filled by God. And so Jesus says, it's wonderful news for those who are poor in spirit, for yours is the kingdom of heaven. And this language of the kingdom, this kingdom language, Jesus speaks about it often and over, that the kingdom of heaven is now, and Jesus came to usher in this new way of life, this life that was always supposed to be. And let's be honest, the kingdoms of this world, man, they let us down. The kingdoms of this world are disappointing, and they're nothing like the kingdom of God. And here's the beautiful promise. Jesus says, you're blessed. Blessings to those. Happy are you. Wonderful news when you're poor in spirit, because yours is the kingdom of heaven. You're closer to the kingdom of heaven. And what that is, when you have this deep emptiness in your heart that can only be filled by God, and you know that unless God fills that empty void, you're never going to experience true happiness and blessings.